It's time for bookkeeping, beer, and BS.
You had mentioned the thing about the work comp, asset buyout, and all that. I just want to clarify one thing because I do think this is so crucial, especially because, well, goddamn, everybody on these calls seems to be acquiring and selling businesses left and right. And I want everybody to know
that's why James isn't on today. He's doing
right. So when it comes to workers' compensation, this is very, very clear cut. There are combinability rules based on an acquisition. So if you buy a company, okay, and it's just an asset buy, meaning you're just taking everything from that company, but you might rehire some of the employees that were working there, or you might continue similar operations that they did under your name. The NCCI or whatever state bureau you're in has the right, when you fill out an ERM form, to tell them that you've done this buy, to say it's similar enough operations, or you've brought in some of the employees, or you're using all their equipment, whatever the case may be, that we are going to combine experience history. In which case, you actually will bring in the claims from a previous employer. And I'll give you a perfect example. There was a gentleman that I work with. He's a client now. I write the insurance for all 4 of his businesses. He bought a small glass company here in Minneapolis. He didn't know any of this. The guy told him nothing about their work comp program, and he inherited a $1.6 million work comp claim on his experience mod that used to be 0.82, and he got a great discount on his premium and bumped it up to a maximum. He actually hit a maximum on his mod, 2.72. It increased his premium by $70,000 a year, and he was like, what do I do? And I was like, frankly, you might have to hire an attorney because it wasn't disclosed to you, but at the end of the day, the MWCI didn't screw up. This data is your data. Yeah. So this was a problem in the buying process where due diligence wasn't done because you didn't know to do it. But at the end of the day, this really
did he end up suing the guy? Did he end up?
Well, yes, they got an attorney, and they asked me to do the monetary analysis for what this cost them, and I'm able to do that fairly, well, not easy, it was a lot of work, but I was able to do that for him and show exactly the dollar amount it cost him. Believe it or not, it was $182,000 over 3 years. And the amount he bought the business for was not a whole lot more than that, maybe 3 times that cost. So it was a pretty big deal. And like I said, it was a small business, but it was a huge impact on what they were doing because remember, once those mods merged, it wasn't just the increase in premium on the small glass business. It was the increase in premium on all of his businesses that share the same mod, which had a much higher premium. And so there is a lot to consider when you're buying and selling a business. And those are questions that you want to ask and you want to understand all there is about it, because Dave is right. There are some types of buys you can do where the history does not follow you. But there are rules, and if you don't abide, I mean, if you do one thing off of those rules, the bureau can say, nope, this data follows you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I think you just talked me into selling my businesses. I think I'm out.
Well,
I'm out of all of them.
But I think the big point in all of what you just said, Corey, is that you've got to do that due diligence, but you have to ask more questions. We looked at a Christmas light business that was up for sale, and looking at it from our side, if we were to buy them, but also then realizing like what I would need to give somebody, even just initial information for sales, that like he didn't provide P&Ls readily. He didn't previous year growth, all those things. But it's interesting to go through all these other scenarios. Before the break, as I say, I know Marvin, he bought another business, and basically after, like a week later after settling on it, they're like, hey, you're being sued for whatever, you owe this. And he's like, no, I bought the assets. You can talk to Dan, who just sold me the business. That's him. Because I guess what he was saying too is that he didn't buy the EIN.
Yeah.
And he only bought obviously the brand name, all the other, the website, the customer list, the equipment and all. And so that would then be defunct at that point.
Yep. And Dave was talking about that earlier. Like generally in this space, you're buying assets. You're not buying the legal entity itself. You can buy the legal entity. There's some value in buying the legal entity, like the bankability, right? You're not starting from scratch. So we were looking at buying a CPA firm to plug into Blue Sky Services. It was a multi-million-dollar CPA firm. And we were debating, like, do we buy the skeletons in the closet? do we want the skeletons in the closet for bankability purposes? And like, how much do we trust the guy to like give us the information that we need? Should we do an asset purchase? And we actually paid a lawyer to like a few $100 to do an hour-long call with us to like debate this out. Like, do we want the skeletons or do we not want the skeletons? We kind of lean towards, we'll start a brand new entity. Like in this case, we had to start a brand new entity. So I think it was more serious about buying their history. Like their history would be more beneficial because we're not plugging it into an existing entity. We're starting a brand new entity. Do we want their history or not? Dave, to your point, everything that like all 3 businesses that we sold, they were all asset sales. Part of it's just so much cleaner and easier to be like, you're buying our clients, you're buying our employees, you're buying the website and all the brand and the marketing, but like our FEIN still exists. And so then back to our insurance issue, Corey, it's like our businesses technically do still exist, right? And I'm making it black and white. I know there's other bills. We still have a couple bills. Our bank accounts are still open. I'm debating, like I can still legally close them as of the end of 2022. And I'm like working with our CPA to figure out if we do that, how much of a pain in the ass is it to like roll those expenses back into 2022. But for exactly what you said is like, we knew there would be expenses coming. Like just shut down expenses, software expenses. Cause I'm like closing accounts and stuff like that. But I thought, and I don't know why I thought, we do this all the time, right? We tell ourselves the story we want to hear. The story I wanted to hear was,
it's going to be easy.
The story I wanted to hear was, I just tell my insurance guy that we sold this business and my bill gets adjusted and we just pay for what we have because that's how it works. I want to pay for what I have.
That would make sense.
Hey, what's up, business nerd? Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned a heck of a lot watching that episode. Do me a favor, subscribe right down here. And if you really like what you saw, you got more goods right here. Check out this one or check out this one and do this. Go subscribe. Appreciate you. Work smarter, work harder, go earn yourself some pride. Catch you on the next one.